What I want to talk about today is how to build the production team and specifically the roles that you want to identify. Now, with everything I just said, of course, I'm looking at Instagram and I do see some posts, but I also look at Facebook and I see nothing on Facebook. And I know that we have some technology, we have some gear that we could utilize greatly that would help us produce content for not only the Facebook, but also for the YouTube platform and the Instagram platform. That's what I meant, not YouTube, but Facebook and Instagram. And specifically, I'm talking about the Sony a6700, which I'll go over a quick overview of that in a moment after we talk about these different positions. But again, so this is going to be an outline of the positions that you will have, and not specifically New Life, but any production team at any church anywhere is going to have these set positions. Um, and then I'll identify which ones that you're currently doing and the ones that we need to think about as the team grows, identifying people that we could put into these roles. So, first thing is, like I just said, to identify the people that are willing, whether they have a knowledge of it or not. I don't think knowledge is the most important thing, or them having a direct skill set. Like, they don't have to be a videographer or a great camera operator to learn how to man the camera. Before we started this process, Darius, I'm pretty sure you didn't have any knowledge of directing or switching cameras, but throughout these last few months, you've been able to learn that, right? So that's why I say you don't necessarily have to have a background in it. Anybody can be taught anything as long as they have the willingness to learn. So that's the most important thing. So the first step in building a reliable team for me is going to be to identify, well, who's willing, who's available, and then understanding where you need people. Okay. So, first position is going to be your production manager, which, Darius, you are absolutely the production manager of New Life Fellowship Church, right? And it says to oversee the entire media team on Sunday, coordinates the volunteers, communicates with staff, and secures all positions for Sunday. So again, I'll use myself as an example. I am the production manager at CPM. I am in charge of making sure I create the schedules, making sure I'm communicating with not only my senior leadership, but also the volunteers that I have that are serving on a Sunday, um, identifying where they're going to be working on that particular Sunday, identifying who's better at running the camera, who's better at displaying graphics on the screens, uh, all of those type things, making sure the production actually happens. We are talking about church, but at the same time, it is still production, and this knowledge is transferable. It doesn't have to be in church. This could be a Hollywood musical or a play or a film set, right? Production manager oversees all of these things, but specifically for church, we're talking about the people that will serve on a Sunday. So again, Darius, you are absolutely, this is one hat you're wearing, one of, to my knowledge, of about four. All right. And you're also wearing this next hat, which is the video director. So the video director is calling camera shots live and communicates with the switcher. So you're actually doing three. And I just realized that you're doing the third one. So you're the video director because you're calling and choosing the shots that you put into your broadcast. But then you're also taking the shots, which is a technical director. And I do have the ability. I have TDs up under me while I direct, but sometimes I do sit in both of those seats myself as well. So again, the difference is the video director is actually looking at your display or your program display, looking at all the camera feeds that you have, and then based off the energy and the movement and the direction that you see in the room, you're calling, hey, ready camera one, take one, ready camera four, take four, right? But then the person that's taking that's actually hitting those buttons on the switcher, that is called the technical director. So again, we're already up to three hats for you, big guy. Um, yes. So production manager, video director, technical director, which is not on my slide, but technical director, And then this is, I think you're up to three. This is the fourth hat that you're wearing, which is a camera operator. So the way that you guys are set up, you're using robotic PTZ cameras, PTZ standing for pan, tilt, zoom. So you're using robotic PTZ cameras. So you are also the camera operator. But we do have the A6700, which could be fed into our camera switcher, and you could utilize a live camera operator. So now for the way that you guys are set up right now, I don't think it's necessary to have a live camera operator, but then we do have the technology and the means to place that camera inside of your switcher so that you could start getting handheld shots during a Sunday. But again, we'll get to a better use of that camera in a moment. So camera operators, again, camera operators are the people that are actually behind the camera and finding those shots within the room. And then it says they capture the live shots per director's call, and they operate static or roaming camera. Static camera being a camera that does not move. Uh, so with that being said, all of your PTZ cameras, although they do move from left to right, they're in a set position, so they would be considered static cameras. And then roaming cameras, of course, this would be a handheld camera operator that's getting action from the praise team, from the band, close up shots of the pastor on a Sunday, things of that nature. Uh, so yes, Darius, you are doing all, what was that? One, two, three, four, five rows already. And then sometimes you might be doing this sixth row, which is your audio engineer. So the audio engineer is going to be the person that mixes and masters your house or live stream audio. And they communicate with the music director. So your music director, of course, is going to be Chris. And I believe you do communicate with him on a week to week basis. He lets you know what songs are going to be sung that Sunday. That comes into play with your graphics director, which I don't see that slide, but we'll talk about in that just a second. Um, so again, your audio engineer and the broadcast engineer. So for you guys, this is the same position because you're only one running one audio board. So what's going into the house is also coming out to the broadcast. At my church, we do have a front of house engineer, which is going to be our audio engineer, and then a broadcast engineer who is a separate person that is mixing what we hear on the live streams on Sunday mornings. And it says broadcast engineer monitors live streams quality, video feeds, sync, resolution, and recordings. So again, you are wearing all of these hats on, I'm pretty sure, most Sundays that you don't have other volunteers with you. And then again, a slide that I am missing, and I don't know why I'm missing it, is going to be a graphics operator, which is called iMag. Uh, at my particular church and at your church, we simply call it ProPresenter because that's the software that we're running, ProPresenter. And again, iMag ProPresenter, that's the person that is displaying all graphics that are coming up on either on your live stream or inside of your house. Could possibly be both. Playing all of the video assets, bringing in all of the scriptures and lower thirds for the speaker or the pastor when they're presenting things of that nature. So anything that comes out of ProPresenter, that is going to be your graphics operator or iMag. And then the last one, which I don't think you guys are at this point yet, is a lighting engineer. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of houses of worship that have the cool stage lights, all the moving lights, things of that nature. We definitely have them at CPM. When you get to that point, then you would definitely want to have somebody that is building your light sets. And what they're doing are they're controlling or automating the lighting scenes to match the worship and the service flow. So again, they could, you know, make the lights fade in smoother, slower for an intimate worship song. And then on a real hype, upbeat song, they might have, you know, it's like a concert, like a hip hop show, and the lights are just going crazy, flashing all over the place. So that would be your lighting engineer. Again, I don't think you guys are at that point yet, but as the church grows, you never know. Pastor might be like, hey, I want to install a whole bunch of lights and make it super duper bright in here and turn it into a concert hall. That is very, very, very I think standard for a lot of houses of worship now. So any questions about the positions that you see on a particular team and the positions that you guys are currently running now? So again, Darius, you are the production manager. So you were definitely managing what happens on a Sunday morning. You are also the video director. Uh, as of right now, you are also the camera operator. But again, you could possibly identify, like it might be somebody that comes onto the team that says, "Hey, I like the way this controller works, and I just want to sit here and feel like I'm playing an Atari all service. I want to operate the cameras." So then they would, find or actually move the camera, but you would tell them as the video director, "Hey, give me a close up shot of the worship team, or give me a close up shot on the drums because I know there's a drum buildup coming in this song." And that's prepping you for when that drum beat happens. Then boom, you can switch on as the technical director. You could switch and actually take that camera shot. So I would say what you guys want to look at specifically. You're the production manager. You're the video director. You're gonna wear both of those hats. That's gonna be you hands down. Even as the team grows, I feel like you're gonna be the one that's teaching the people all of these different positions. So hands down, you are the production manager and the video director. Um, you could utilize a camera operator. That would be cool. If not, then you have the means because you're already doing it. You could also be the camera operator. Now, an audio engineer, I think this is definitely something that we want to take off of your plate that would help you, just focus on directing and making sure the flow of everything runs smoothly as far as the broadcast goes. So again, I believe when I believe his name is Daniel. When he is available, then you do have an audio engineer. But again, just making sure that we could identify as time goes that there's somebody that we could put into this seat that is willing to learn the audio board, learn how the worship team likes to play, learn the loudness, so that we could be able to monitor that, so we could get a clear signal out to the broadcast. That would be great. So we definitely want to identify who could be an audio engineer. What we haven't talked about, or we briefly did talk about, is a camera operator. Now, again, for the way that you guys are set up with that A6700, we probably want to capture pictures and or video content. I'm gonna say and we want to capture pictures and video clips that we could then post onto our social media feeds, our Instagram, our Facebook platforms, so that people could see the energy, they could see the emotion of what a Sunday morning looks like at New Life. And then that's going to make me say, I want to attend this church, or I want to make sure I'm on a Sunday morning at 10:30 so I can see it. So I can get a sense of what it's like. I can learn if this is the pastor that I want to follow. I like the way that Pastor Gail speaks, so now I actually want to come and be in person. So that these are the things that we want to capture within the camera, the A6700. And I do have a quick overview of the A67 and why we actually chose that particular camera. There are a bunch of cameras on the market. The reason why I specifically said, or I chose the A67 for you guys, is number one, it's super duper small. Number two, it is a great hybrid camera, meaning it will take great pictures and video. This point right here, which I don't know if you can see my mouse, but video recording, it records 4K and up to 60 frames per second. Now, 60 frames per second is the frame rate of the camera, and 60 frames is standard for slow motion video. Now, you may not use it as much. And then again, an added feature is it'll do 4K at 120 frames per second, slow motion, cropped, which means that just zooms the image in. It is an APS-C camera, which means it's a crop sensor camera. It basically magnifies the focal length that you're at. So, for example, if we got a 50 millimeter lens on the camera, what the camera is recording is actually 75 millimeters because it's a 1.5 times crop sensor on the camera. Again, I'm probably going super tech nerdy on you right now, but the more you use it, the more you'll understand this stuff. I am very familiar with the Sony camera line. I actually have a Sony a6100, which is a little older. Been using this camera for about 2 years. Um, so I knew it, guys. It would definitely work for you. It has the microphone input, so you could add, an external mic to it. It has in-body stabilization, so a person that's shooting handheld, it won't be as shaky like when they're walking around, which is good. My cameras at CPM, we use the Black Magic Pocket Cinema 6Ks, which do not have any type of stabilization. So when we use them handheld, sometimes it gets really shaky. So I actually need camera operators that know how to basically brace their body so that the camera isn't all jerky and all over the place until we want that type of movement, that specific shot. And then I think the number one thing is it has a fully articulating touchscreen. So you can use the screen to actually focus the camera or the lens. And it moves around. So, if you're shooting vertically, something for social media, then you could flip that lens out and still see without having to adjust the camera in an awkward position or turn your head to the side and bend down real low. Like that screen moves so that you can see and you can create better shots. And again, it's super lightweight. It's the smaller camera body, so it doesn't weigh as much. Um, Camera doesn't have the problem that some of the Sony cameras had, the earlier Sony cameras had with overheating. You got the bigger body, the bigger battery, excuse me, has the bigger battery. So, you can take more shots, you can record more video without having to worry about changing battery a bunch of times. So it's just an overall solid camera. It is definitely above a starter camera. So getting accustomed to it may take a moment, but again, it's super easy to use. So how would you use it? Again, uh, the main thing as we look at these 5 points, and I wouldn't even worry about audio, but the main thing is going to be sermon and testimonial recordings. So recording those, getting a closer angle of pastor as she's speaking. And of course, we're already recording the stream. So now I could take this small clip and mix it with the audio from the live stream and create a reel. This is something that we utilize every single week at CPM. Again, this is one main way that you would use the camera. And then number 4, photography. So again, capturing those shots, capturing somebody in worship, seeing the emotion of the worship leader as they're singing, seeing the person playing the drums, seeing somebody in prayer, which is a little bit more intimate, but still, this is what happens during a service. So it is not uncommon to see these type of shots. And then uploading these pictures to our Facebook, to our YouTube platform. This is going to be the way that we could best utilize that A6700. Again, you do already have 3 cameras, so you have all the coverage around the room within the PTZs. We could add it into the switcher for a 4th camera feed, but I don't think we're going to get the value of it being a 4th camera feed like we would if we're actually capturing content that we could then post to social media. This increases our engagement on social media. This allows people to see us, see what our church is about, and that hopefully that makes them want to come and visit with our church in person. And this is how the congregation grows.